Broadcasting across California, California's only statewide political show. You're watching The Issue Is.
And welcome to a special edition of The Issue Is. I'm Elex Michaelson. Our guest this week really needs no introduction. He, of course, is known by a lot of names. The 38th governor of California, the Terminator, Conan, Mr. Olympia, Dad, and soon Grandpa. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Welcome back to The Issue Is.
Good to see you again. How are you?
I'm doing well, and better that you're on the show this week. We really appreciate it. Of course, the biggest story of our time right now is the coronavirus. That's why we're having to do this remotely like this. What do you make of the U.S. response so far?
Well, I think that if you compare the U.S. to the rest of the world, I would say that we have not really done that well. And I think that, when you see the latest statistics that just came out, where they talk about that we are having 22% of the world's death, even though United States represents 4% of the population. And I think the reason is very simple. I think that we don't have a coordinated effort in America like they have in other countries. When in South Korea or in Germany or in Austria or in France or wherever you go, I mean, there's one voice. I mean, the prime minister says, this is what we do. Everyone stays home from the schools. The schools are closed. He says that everyone has to wear a mask. Every company has to close down. And there's a uniformity there throughout the nation. In America, we have different laws. We don't have just one federal law. We have, state laws, and then we have, city laws. So, it's like stuff that doesn't really make sense. It's not scientifically kind of designed. It's more politically driven, the whole thing. And so this is why we are falling behind in the progress. And it's not just any person's fault. This is kind of a systemic kind of a problem that we have where the whole nation did not come together.
President Trump was asked about the coronavirus this week in an interview with Axios' Jonathan Swan. Here's a clip of that.
There are those that say you can test too much. You do know that.
Who says that?
Oh, just read the manuals, read the books.
Manuals?
Read the
what
books.
Manuals?
Read the books.
What books?
Wait a minute, Jonathan. Let me explain.
What'd you make of that interview?
Well, we all have our own styles and we all do our interviews the way, we do it. I have my style and here's his style and so on. And I'm not about to go and to dump on Trump because of this interview. I think plenty of people have done that already. I would have done it differently. And I would have, of course, not compared the United States with third world countries. America should be number one. We should be number one in our response and not really compare ourselves with any of those nations.
You've been advising the governor of California, Gavin Newsom. What do you tell him? And what do you make of his response?
Well, I think that he has done a great job. We have been talking regularly. I think it was very good for him to be inclusive and to not look at it as a Democratic issue or Republican issue, and have also, like Pete Wilson and myself as Republican governors be part of his task force, and also Democratic governors, Jerry Brown and Gray Davis be part of it. And we all talk to each other and we try to be as helpful as we can. And, whenever you are in the arena and whenever you make decisions and courageous decisions, you're going to make mistakes. I think that he will make mistakes. I think that he will go and be sometimes off and then a lot of times on and all that stuff. But I think that so far he has done really well. I think that he opened up businesses maybe quicker than we should have, because then it backfired and the coronavirus came right back like gangbusters. And now I think that we've learned from that and that we have to pull back and really wait now until the numbers come down, until they start opening businesses again and go back to normal life. And I think we could have waited maybe another month or something like that. But, it's, as it's always very smart, easy to be smart in hindsight.
We've seen you and the other governors together for a PSA encouraging people to wear masks. So knowing what we know now, sort of where do we go from here?
Well, first of all, as you know, that I'm a big believer in wearing the mask. As a matter of fact, I have one right here. Right, this mask right here. It says "We'll be back." and you put it on. It's very easy to put on, and you put it right over here, like this. And then it has a good message. We'll be back.
There it is.
See here? So anyway, so the bottom line is, I'm not trying to sell those masks, even though we are selling those masks, and the money goes to charity. The money goes to after-school programs and programs like that. But the bottom line is that I am, and I always told it, I'm a big believer in a mask, in wearing a mask. If everyone wears a mask, we protect each other from the coronavirus.
And we were just showing images. Represent.com/Arnold is where you can go to buy that mask that the governor was just wearing. The money goes to that important cause of the after-school All-Stars. The last time California was in this sort of financial hole, you were governor. What was sort of the most important lesson you learned from that experience that we can now learn for the state going forward?
Well, I think that, I was always a big believer in a rainy day fund and for redoing our tax system. I fought tremendous amount of resistance in Sacramento to redo the tax system and also to go and put the rainy day fund aside. But I knew that they would come, where we would need 20-30 billion dollars set aside because we would be short of those revenues. And that's exactly what has happened. And then I was very fortunate that we actually could pass a budget, and Karen Bass and Mike Valines, and Darrell Steinberg and Dave Cocktail, they all were very courageous. They went beyond their ideology and worked together.
Well, speaking of Karen Bass, we've been looking at some images of her and you together. Of course, she's now being vetted to be the next vice president of the United States. She was on this show last week with us. What's your message to Joe Biden? Do you think she would be a good pick for VP?
Well, my message to Joe Biden is that he has to figure out, and the Democrats have to figure out who they pick. I don't get involved in their picks, but I can tell you one thing, that I had a wonderful working relationship with Karen Bass. She was a trustworthy person that she kept her word. It was great to work with. She went beyond ideology. She was able to preach over and to reach over across the aisle and all of this stuff. So I have absolutely nothing negative to say about her at all. As a matter of fact, I had really a great relationship, and that's the only way we really can move forward is if Democrats and Republicans work together. And I think that she understands that. I think that you can look into her and you will find faults and you will find things that red flags, but that you can find about anybody. I just tell you that I had a wonderful relationship with her. And for a Republican to say that she was a great team player, I think that says a lot.
The Schwarzenegger Institute is going to be holding a virtual summit soon about race issues. Karen Bass, of course, the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. How do you see this moment when it comes to race relations, and what are you hoping to accomplish with the summit?
Well, what I was hoping to accomplish is to turn my vision into reality. And for me, I have seen firsthand how I have been treated in America as an immigrant, how I was received with open arms, how I have gotten all of the opportunities. There was doors of opportunities opening up left and right for me so that I could become a superstar in the bodybuilding world and then a superstar in the show business, and also to become governor of the state of California, have a wonderful family, make millions of dollars. I mean, I can tell you the kind of things that I've accomplished was all because of America. Everyone should have the same opportunities, and that's what I'm trying to fight for. I'm trying to have this conference to bring people together because I saw that struggle when I came over to this country in 1968. I saw protests and I saw madness going on here where they were rioting in front of the Democratic Convention in Chicago and all this, and people were dissatisfied then about the Vietnam War. And I think that it was a lack of listening by the politicians, that they didn't hear the people. And I think it's important today we don't make that same mistake again and continue on with the riots and with the burning and with the looting and the protests and all of this stuff. Let's listen to them, and let's listen and say, we got to make changes. We are not really treating everyone fairly.
Well, we were honored to be a part of the Schwarzenegger Institute homelessness initiative recently, and you guys do such important work at USC, so a big shout out to what you do. Up next, we're going to have some fun. We're going to talk about the governor's unique pets. He's been quarantining with a miniature donkey and a miniature horse. So what's life like in the Schwarzenegger household? We're joined by Arnold Schwarzenegger. We've talked some serious business, but I do want to have some fun here, too. You are in quarantine with your dogs.
Well, I've had fun so far. I mean, I don't know about you. Maybe for you this interview was torturous, but I've had fun.
I've had a ton of fun. You're the most fun guest that we have. But we got.
I mean, I said, Mr. Wait a minute, this guy doesn't have fun. What's going on here? I'm having fun.
I'm having a great time. You're the king. You're the greatest. You're our favorite guest, Governor. And of course, we've got, but you're not only the only one at home. You got your dogs, your pet donkey, your miniature horse. So here's a clip of Lulu the donkey and you working out.
Hard work, another day
Donkey races.
Hard work, that's what they say. Hard work.
So I'm interested more in what this world is like with you and sort of the animal house at home. How does it all work?
Well, I'm very fortunate that I can, afford animals like that, or have the space for animals like that, and that I have the time now because of the coronavirus. And now I have a dog also. I mean, Dutch is his name. He has been fantastic, and he is getting used to, I think, Lulu and whiskey. So I think that it's kind of like an animal house here, and it's like a zoo, and people just have a great time when they come over here and they see all this stuff.
So they hang out with you at the table, they hang out with you in the house. We got the new dog, Dutch, and then the older dog, which is Cherry, right?
Exactly.
And I'm fascinated by Cherry because my family also has a smaller dog who tends to run the house. And is Cherry really kind of the boss in that house?
She pretends to be the boss, because she snaps at the other dog when he gets too close to her, and she snaps at Whiskey, at the little miniature donkey, when he gets too close to her food or anything like this. Because you know how animals are, they try to steal each other's food, and so in order to create respect, they say, don't touch my bowl. This is my bowl. I eat in steps. I eat a little bit, then I leave some over. It doesn't mean that you should have it now. And they're hilarious because, as I've told you already in the past, they come into our house. They roam around the house. They go upstairs to the gym. They go upstairs the steps and everything like this. They're here in the kitchen. And they've never misbehaved. It's not like someone, is going to, one of those animals is going to take a dump in here or something like this. You never have to worry about any of that. They do that outside. It's really amazing without me ever teaching them that. I never had to say, don't do this in here or anything. It's just fantastic. So we love it, and we just treat them all like dogs, basically. They can come in the house and they're part of the family.
Well, it's important to hear that they're not taking a dump in the house. And they've gone viral. They have become like international phenoms. I think at this time of coronavirus quarantine, where there's been so much despair, I think your animals have given people hope and a reason to smile in some dark days. It's been amazing to see the reaction to them.
Well, thank you. And I tell you, the interesting thing about it is now there are studios that want to do a movie about the animals. And of course, since I'm their agent, I have to be in the movie too. But in any case, they're coming now up with stories. And it's really amazing. You say to yourself, what this has created, like being just online every so often with those animals, which I literally did only for the purpose of entertaining people, because I know how tough it is out there when you have to suffer through this coronavirus kind of era. And so if anything that I can do to cheer them up, because like I said, I'm fortunate enough that I have the money and that I have this fun around me, and I want to share it with other people.
Another pause in the conversation. Up next, we talk to Governor Schwarzenegger about his family, and he's about to become a grandpa. What's he think about that? More of The Issue Is after this. We also want to wish you a happy birthday. Just had a big birthday, turning 73. Here's a beautiful picture of you and your kids and Maria celebrating. 73, Governor Schwarzenegger. What does that mean to you?
Well, every year we get older, and the key thing is that not to make too many alterations in your life. I mean, to try to stay fit and to try to stay healthy. That's the important thing. And to continue on working, to continue on with your passions.
And what I admire so much about you is not only that you give back, but you have taught your kids to give back as well. Really remarkable kids. Your son Patrick was actually recently on our show here. The Issue Is talking about his Instagram show with his mom, Maria, called Home Together. They've used this quarantine time to help others. Here's a clip of Patrick from The Issue Is.
What can we do together that will, bring some sort of optimism and positivity to the followers that we have? Like, how can we use our platform to inspire other people?
I mean, it's got to make you so proud to see how incredible Patrick and all of your kids really are, and how focused they are on helping society.
Well, first of all, I have to say that a lot of this Maria has to do with, because I think that Maria has been a terrific mother to the kids, and I learned a lot from the Kennedy and the Shriver family about giving back and serving the country and all that stuff. And Maria comes from that kind of a family, and I think that our kids have learned a lot from her and also from me. But it's something you do together.
That's very kind. And your son-in-law, Chris Pratt, recently posted this picture of your daughter, Catherine, saying she's about to pop with a baby bump there. Congratulations, you're about to be a grandpa. Can you believe that? And also, are you going to go by the name Grandpa? Have you decided what this kid's going to call you?
They can call me anything they want, Grandpa or the Opa. In German, it's Opa. I'm really looking forward to for Catherine, to pop out that baby and to deliver, and that we know what it is, if it's a girl or if it's a boy, because she didn't want to know, and nor did Maria and I ever wanted to know. We always wanted to be surprised about the whole thing. So I think that it's going to be really, really exciting. And I have to tell you also that Chris Pratt is a fantastic son-in-law, and he's very, very kind of disciplined with his work. He's wonderful to Catherine and to Maria and to me, and we are having a great relationship with him. He's really a great, great guy.
One of the great things about quarantine, it has given families an opportunity to spend more time together and to connect. I'm sure all of you were on the road so much. It has given you a chance to spend time with each other. Talk to us a little bit about that.
It's wonderful. I mean, I really love when they call me and they say they want to come over and play tennis, or they want to come over and just work out. Like I worked out this morning with my son, with Patrick, and then, the next day, Joseph will call me and he will say, let's go on a bike ride, and we go on a bike ride. Then Christina will call me and says, let's go on a bike ride, we're going to bike ride. So it's like, every one of the kids, I see them all the time. And I think that's important, especially at a time like that, where you try to bring them together and have a great time.
Well, what a beautiful family, and what a great legacy for you and for Maria. All right, we're got to sneak in one more commercial with you, Governor. But before we go to break, a clip from the last time you were here when we could do the show in studio in December. And the governor threw to commercial break. It's my favorite tossed commercial break ever. Take a look. If there's a phrase maybe to tell people that I'm going to return.
You can go and say, I'll be back.
How can anybody top that? We are talking with Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. So as we sort of wrap things up, this is a strange moment in history, unlike anybody has ever seen before. And I'm wondering sort of your thoughts of where do we go from here?
I think the key thing for us is that we must come together as a nation. We must come together. Democrats and Republicans must realize that the other side are not the villains. Just because you have a different ideology, or just because you see things differently, you have a different background, it makes no difference. You have to sit together and talk and discuss and debate and work things out and come to conclusions and fix things. We have so many things to do. I mean, just alone, if you think about the infrastructure that we have to build in America, we haven't built any roads or bridges are falling apart. And we have a third world country electrical grid system, for instance. We have over 200,000 people dying every year because of pollution in America, 7 million worldwide. The immigration system is horrible. We still don't have everyone insured. Those things cannot be done by one party. The best things come out when you have both parties work together, because then it's long lasting. Then it's not one of those bogus executive orders, but it is then comes from everyone coming together and saying, this is the direction we go. And I think that's what we need to do. We need to have a vision, and we got to come together, and we got to solve some of those big, big issues.
Well, Governor, I couldn't agree with you more. The entire purpose of our show is to try to bring both sides together, to hear from people on both sides. Too much of media these days is just hearing from one side or the other, and where we find the solution is in the middle. You've been such a proponent of that, and we are so grateful for you being so generous with your time here today. Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, thank you so much.
Well, just just because you are having this attitude as a show to bring Democrats and Republicans together, that's why I love doing your show, because I know where your heart is at. I know what your thinking is and your philosophies, but I also know that you care about the country more than anything, rather than just a party. And that's, I think, what we have to do, and we have to find more people like that. And that's what our conference for equality and equal opportunities will be all about at USC Schwarzenegger Institute.
All right, well, I'm going to take that as an endorsement from Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's how I score that. So thank you very much. And we're going to end with more fun as we go out. Let's end with Lulu and you pumping us up. And maybe one day we'll get to work out together. So as we say goodbye, here's Lulu taking us out. Thanks so much for watching The Issue Is.
Hard work, that's what they say. Hard work, I earn my pay. Hard work, I get off the rock, I move on down. Hard work, got to go.